Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And the fight back begins. Slowly but surely, we are seeing a push back against the gender identity madness, and Kansas in America has become the first state to begin the process of protecting women and defining them in law. And it doesn't include men who identify as women. It is based purely on scientific fact. They've defined what a woman is, and they're banning men from areas where men have got no business being. We're going to take a look at this report, but it's nice to see that finally someone is making a stance, standing up and saying no to this horrendous endangerment of women and children caused by the left and the woke wankerati. So we'll get into it and have a look now. Here goes. So here we are. Kansas becomes the first to pass Women's Bill of Rights that defines a woman as someone who is biologically born female, to preserve single-sex areas like public restrooms, school sports, prisons and shelters. And it's about time. Somebody needs to push back on this madness of gender identity. The Kansas bill defines a woman as those whose reproductive systems produce ova, and the move paves the way for further legislation protecting single-sex spaces such as public restrooms. It has sparked a backlash from the Democrats, because of course it would, who claim it will ban trans people from public spaces. No, it will not ban trans people from public spaces. It will ban trans people from areas where men have no business being. Biological men should not be in women's changing rooms, in women's prisons, or in women's toilets. That sort of thing. So Kansas has become, and certainly not in women's shelters for DV and our crisis and things like that. Anyway, Kansas has become the first state to pass the bill that defines a woman as someone who was born biologically female, in a move that paves the way for banning transgender people from single-sex areas. Legislators voted in favour of the Women's Bill of Rights on Thursday, which has already sparked fierce backlash from the Kansas Senate Democrats, who said it was equally offensive to trans and cisgender women. Really? I think if you did a poll, it would only be the trans that were upset about it. I think women, because calling someone cisgender is offensive. A woman is a woman. She's not got to be labelled cis anything. And anyone who calls a woman a cis is being offensive and needs to be ridiculed and just basically called out for hate speech. Calling anyone cis is hate speech. But Republican Senator Renee Erickson, who spearheaded the bill, insisted it was a very factual and objective move. It is nice to see a politician with a bit of intelligence and a bit of backbone. The bill defines a female as someone whose biological reproductive system is developed to produce ova, while male refers to anyone whose reproductive system is developed to fertilise the ova of a female. It lies in the foundation for future laws banning transgender athletes from girls' and women's clubs, K-12, club and college sports. Excellent bloody move. And so, of course, here's Renee Erickson, and she's obviously smiling because she got a bill passed, but there is the Democrat who's fighting against it and is rejecting it, and God, doesn't she look sour. It could also prevent transgender men and women from changing their birth certificates and driver's licensing after transitioning, and they may be forced to use restrooms and other facilities associated with the gender assigned to them at birth. Don't like the term assigned. Nobody assigns anything. You are determined at the moment of conception, not assigned anything when you're born. Senators voted 26-10 to approve the bill, though it received no Democratic support. It had already been vetoed by the Democratic Governor Laura Kelly, who was quashed two previous proposals. The issue of what a woman is has been the centre of a fiery culture in the US, with trans activists arguing its definition should be inclusive of people who were born male but later identify as female, and that would be A, madness, and B, wrong. Female is a thing, it is not an identity. It is a piece of scientific fact. Left-leaning politicians all over the world have been caught up in knots by interviewers who ask them to define what a woman is, and it's simple: adult human female. It is as simple as that. Last year, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson was ridiculed when she answered the question by saying, "I'm not a biologist." No, I'm not a gynecologist, but I know what you are. Senator Erickson told the Washington Times what this does is simply codify in law the definition of sex. It simply says that in existing statute or law where there is a definition of sex, it means biological male and female as determined at birth. That is very factual, it is very objective, and that is excellent, and it is a good move. I won't go any further into it, we're just getting the push on that one. But it is the start of the pushback, and which is very encouraging, and it helps to safeguard women and children going forward. So I'll round this bit off, I'll come up and we'll finish the video. So obviously there's still a long way to go on this pushback and this the turning the war, if you will. But it is a start, and if one state does it, then another and another and another, and it will become the de facto position that women are women and men are men, regardless of what they want to call themselves or how they choose to identify or dress or what names they give themselves. It will be defined in law as a scientific description, not an opinion, and that is what is needed. And it is these things that will protect, ultimately, women. The most vulnerable women, especially those in DV centres or our crisis centres, women in prison. They will not be forced to share those spaces with the very men who often have put them into those positions. So it's a welcome bit of news. Finally, we got a politician, like I say, who's willing to stand up, be counted, and has shown bravery and leadership on a difficult decision, because at the risk of being shouted down, cancel culture, called names, treated abominably for standing up for the safety of women. Anyone who opposes this can be shown to actually want to willingly endanger women and children. Anyone who opposes this bill is someone who is willingly and deliberately putting women and children in harm's way. And that needs to be highlighted. These people need to be shown up for what they are. They're dangerous. They're dangerous people. I'm on about the politicians here, not the individuals. But it is a case that somebody had to make a stand. This woman's made a stand. It's been backed. It's gone through. And let us hope that more follow. And not just in America, all around the world. Usually what happens is America leads, the rest of the world follows. So hopefully, this will filter its way through, and women everywhere will finally be protected in law. Anyway, thank you very much for listening to me ramble on a bit. If you like what you hear and see on the channel, do hit please that subscribe button right down there. It'll be super. Leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, do not confuse your genders, and goodbye.